Hey, welcome to Into Indie Games, and today I want to talk to you about Heartworm, a PS1 style survival horror game that's heavy on the atmosphere, kinda iffy on the polish in some places, and it's trying really hard to say something about grief, memory, and what it means to hold on for too long. And look, there's a lot to like here. The vibe is spot on. Static filled screens, muddy textures, a quiet unease. It all feels like a haunted memory from 1999. The game knows what it wants to be. It's low res, lo-fi, and emotionally distant in that intentional dreamlike way. But once you settle into it, that charm kind of starts to wear off. So let's talk about it. Okay, let's get things that I did not like out of the way first. The controls are clunky, even with the option to switch between tank style and modern movement. It's like fighting with the game to do something as simple as walk through a doorway, and the fixed camera angles, while stylistically cool, don't help. It's the usual problems that the 90s horror games had. Level design is solid in a visual sense. You explore creepy houses, foggy neighborhoods, and liminal nightmare spaces that feel like Sam's memories turned inside out. But there's just too much backtracking as well. You'll find yourself looping through the same spaces again and again, not in a thematic way, but in a where the hell was that key kind of way, which I never liked about the 90s horror games. So let's talk about the voice acting in the game. Sam, the main character, carries the entire emotional weight of the game, and unfortunately the voice acting doesn't really hold up. Her delivery feels flat, like she's reading from a script. It feels phoned in. For a game that's all about grief and isolation, that emotional disconnect really hurts the overall impact. One cool idea is using a camera to fight enemies instead of a weapon. It's been done in Fatal Frame before. It's thematically interesting, capturing your fears instead of getting rid of them, but the mechanic doesn't really evolve. Most of the enemies are actually pretty easy to avoid, and combat never really feels tense or meaningful. Still, despite all that, there's something here. The game has heart. It's just a little too rough around the edges. It clearly comes from a place of passion and personal storytelling, but in trying to channel the emotional weight of something like Silent Hill 2, it ends up stuck in its shadow. Despite the flaws, Heartworm nails its vibe. The lo-fi visuals, the VHS-style filters, the weird sound design, it all works to create a strange, unsettling world that feels like it exists more in memory than in reality. That's probably the game's biggest strength. It feels like a very personal dream. There's this idea floating around the game that grief changes how you perceive the world, and Heartworm really leans into that. Rooms looping on themselves, hallways feel a little too long. It's all very intentional, and it almost hits on something very profound. So here's where I land. Heartworm is an interesting indie horror experience with great atmosphere, decent level design, and a lot of ambition. Clunky controls, flat voice acting, and a shallow story hold it back. It's not a must-play, but if you're into lo-fi horror and want something short, moody, and experimental, it's worth checking out, but with tempered expectations. That's it for this one. You've been watching Into Indie Games. If you have played Heartworm, let me know what you thought. Did it land for you, or did it just feel like static? Catch you in the next one. If you liked this review, consider liking the video and subscribing for more deep dives into indie games, both the polished and the rough around the edges.